Good morning, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. We are going to head into session 3 of our Marketing the Maritimes series, Create and Implement Your Digital Marketing Plan for 2025. So session 3 is Prepare for Takeoff. And throughout the presentation, we'll encourage you to ask questions, put them in the Q&A. Great questions help move the webinar forward and really, make it more robust. So have any questions, please make sure you ask them. And if you have any questions that pop up after the fact, send us an email and we'll make sure we get you an answer. Any links or software or anything we may discuss throughout the webinar, we'll make sure we share it after the fact. So you can focus on the webinar, be present. You don't have to go check that stuff out, but we'll make sure we let you know later. Closed captioning is an option. You can turn it on your status bar. And all of our webinars are available on Digiport and Tourism Nova Scotia's website. So if you find this valuable, we will send you a copy, a link of this webinar, but we'll also encourage you to share it with any industry partners. If you are here for the first time and you want to go back and check out some of our previous webinars, we would encourage you to do so. And I, again, hope you joined us here through Digiport. And if you haven't signed up for Digiport, please do so. It's a one-stop shop for Nova Scotia tourism businesses. It's offered nowhere else in Canada. It's offered at no charge. And you'll have an opportunity to access experts. You can find out our programming and apply for the programs. You can also look at one-on-ones. So you can book a one-on-one with a digital service expert. So a lot of really great programming there. nsdigiport.ca, go and sign up. And if you have any questions on that, you can give us a call. You can chat with Digital Nova Scotia, but we'll make sure we get you there if you have any challenges with that. Without further ado, we want to welcome back Liam Taylor. He has over 20 years experience. SME Solutions works with all facets of emerging and existing business concepts. They take an idea and from concept to execution and make it really applicable and easy to understand. So they do all the hard work for you, and then they help you with the training, mentoring, marketing, promotion. And Liam also specializes in integrated web strategy with traditional marketing and business management. So we've seen over the last few weeks, previous digital days and other webinars that Liam has a lot of valuable information to share. And we're so happy Liam could join us. So I'll cut off here, but thank you, Liam. And I welcome you to share your screen.
Thanks very much. I'm going to see if I can share my screen now. Let's see. Okay, so welcome everyone to the last in this 3-part session, and that's been walking you through reviewing your website. The first session was the Marie Kondo session where you cleaned up your digital presence, planning your digital calendar. And today we're going to be actually learning how to implement your 2025 digital marketing plan in line with the customer buying journey. So the overall age of this sorry, I apologize. The overall aim of this 3-part workshop has been to sell more product through your website. And we've done this by focusing on 4 goals: consistency of your presence, growing your customer base, increasing and leveraging your customer loyalty, and increasing your efficiency online. Now, a goal is an achievable outcome that's broad and more general in this case. And so we need to really drill down into it with some objectives. So the objectives we've been focusing on are reach, which is reaching out to more clients, reaching out to more a broader gamut of clients, engaging them, and then converting them from visitors to customers. And these are all measurable parameters. So in this final session, we're going to be looking on 3 elements. So we're going to be understanding the tourism customer buying journey. We're going to align our marketing efforts with each stage to build a seasonal marketing calendar. And we're going to implement some tools for execution, and most importantly, ensuring that your online digital calendar can be evaluated and reviewed for future years. So we're going to start by considering the core stages of your customer decision-making journey. Now, generally in the marketing world, this consists of awareness, interest, consideration, conversion slash purchase, and then advocacy. However, for the purposes of the tourism industry, it's interesting to review what Google calls micro moments. And we're going to think about these elements. So here they are. Here are Google's outlines of the micro moments that it has identified in the tourism industry. The I want to get away moments, which are the dreaming moments, the awareness moments, the time to make a plan moments, so it's the planning, the let's book it moments, the conversion, and then I can't wait to explore moments, the experiencing moments. But surprisingly, in my opinion, Google misses a trick. So I've expanded it a little more. Um, so for the purpose of this presentation of marketing your tourist business online, the customer journey has an additional step. So we have dreaming. This is where your prospective customer starts dreaming about a trip to your destination and gets inspired by the tours and activities they can find and book. The planning. So this is when the customer becomes aware of your company when researching tours and activities in your destination area or for the product or service that you provide. And we've got booking. This is the conversion. The customer chooses your company. You've been able to convince them to book your tour or activity instead of your competition. And then you get the experiencing. You provide incredible customer service. You have an incredible experience before, during, and after your activity, tour, booking, and you make sure that you exceed your customers' expectations. But here's the crux: the sharing. This is the advocacy element, which Google misses out. Your customer had such a positive experience that they tell their friends about you, and you have a brand ambassador. So this is important for those for generating repeat business and ensuring that you get good reviews online. We're going to start with the dreaming phase. So attracting customers has been a part of marketing throughout history. And what's different with this process is that you're attracting your ideal customers. Remember, I go on and on about buyer personas, but you don't want to try and attract people who aren't interested or don't need your service. So you really need to focus in on those customers who fit your buyer persona, your customer demographic. And you do that through quality content that's relative to their life and their needs. And we've all had that moment. It's raining and miserable outside, or snowing in the case of last week in Nova Scotia. And we begin to dream about going somewhere warm, or we're thinking about organizing something, and you begin to dream about the location. I know my brother-in-law is getting married, so he's dreaming about all sorts of things at the moment. They're running around trying to identify where they want to go, what they want to do for the wedding. So this time of year, it's the dreaming phase for most customers who are looking for a holiday or an experience in Nova Scotia. So how do you capture your past potential customers' attention while they're in this dreaming phase? Emailing. Email marketing, that's the first one. You can reach out to your guests or your past guests with a well-timed email campaign, put an idea in their head. Last week, we talked about lead capturing with social media contests, with polls. So you're trying to generate a good, well-defined email list so you can really target your customers. Social media. So at this point in the year, you want to produce high quality, engaging content, video content, potentially that captures people's attention and encourage the sharing. So you can get them to share your images and act as part of your marketing strategy. You need to post content and updates on social media to start conversations, to start engaging with your audience and drive traffic to your website for your booking. And you also want to encourage past guests to share their experiences on your social media challenge. We had a very positive experience where we used user-generated content for one of my clients. We ran a competition and we got a lot of engagement through that and some repeat bookings. And then blog posts. Research and write blog posts that reflect your customers' top priorities. Not necessarily blog posts, although that does help with SEO, but posts online, and we'll talk about a little bit about those in the next little bit. Publish guides, ebooks that showcase your knowledge, explore subjects, And remember that you want to try and gear it around AIDA. You've got it there on the bottom, and it stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. So you want to grab their attention, you want to give them something interesting, you want to create desire and action. Again, it's converting them to do what you want them to do, and then creating an action around that. Oh, I apologize. I just closed my screen. So let's look at an example of a local tourism-based company and what they did. So this is inspiring this wanderlust, Cabot Links visual storytelling. I think I used Cabot Links last week, and they are starting to create interest. They're trying to attract people to their website at this time of year by sharing stunning photography. This is their website. But they also use Instagram, Facebook, and they inspire travelers throughout the year. So this is their website hero image. Then we move on to their Instagram. We've got an Instagram image there of the cliffs, a drone image, beautiful blue skies. Then we've got a sunset pitch there, and you can see they've got a lot of interaction there. And they do a great job of using emotive images and calls to action. Although in my opinion, they do mix the planning stage and the dreaming stage a little, as you can see here. They're meant to be creating emotive images, and they're also pushing plan the trip of a lifetime by visiting cabotcapebreton.com today, which is absolutely fine as long as they have a plan. And also here you've got explore more dining experiences. You can almost taste the lobster in this image. It's fantastic. Really, really, really stuff to get people's attention and also get them to reminisce about past experiences. Here is an example of their Facebook page. Again, lovely drone footage. That looks like a sunrise to me. And they're announcing their 2025 opening on May the 9th. Here we've got some of the images they've used before from the Instagram pics. That's absolutely fine. Try not to repeat exact posts over your social media channels, but you can certainly use elements from them. And they really use Facebook to reinforce images that are emotive. Here you can see a nice early morning golf scene. I don't know what the colors are like on your screen, but on Instagram, they're very, very, very bright. So you've got their attention. They've been dreaming. They've decided what they want to do. And now it's the planning and research stage of the buyer journey. They start to plan for accommodations, travel, activities, and it's a crucial stage for travel marketers to establish your presence and capture people with high purchase intent. You have to stand out from your competition. Now, it's a little bit out of date, and so I think it was from 2023, but the average traveler visits over 20 different travel websites before they make a booking. So I believe that's probably more now. And this is where the real value of your Marie Kondo pre-season cleanup of your digital presence is absolutely vital. So just reinforce when people are planning, you really have to make sure that your website is optimized for Google search engine optimization. Make sure you've conducted keyword research to determine what your customers are searching for and implementing that SEO into your website so that they pop up when they're searching for experiences similar to yours, locations near yours. Ensure your local listings are optimized. So make sure that a listing of Lunenburg Bed and Breakfast is up to date. Make sure your listing on Tourism Nova Scotia is up to date. This is really ensuring that you have really clean, concise information for the people who are looking for an experience like yours. Pay-per-click ads, this is when you can target them with Google and Facebook ads. And we spoke about that briefly as part of the marketing pyramid in the last session. So, but you've got to really understand who you're marketing at. You've got to really try and ensure that these are targeted ads or they are a waste of money. Clean up your online travel agency listings, your Airbnb, your booking.com. Make sure that your photos are updated. Make sure that your data, your communication data, your telephone number, WhatsApp, things like that, so that people can really get in touch with you easily if they need to. And make sure your reviews are up there for all to see. I see, Greg, you're online today. I did a quick review of your website, and I have to say your reviews there, just in the middle of your website, perfect. that really gives people a lot of confidence and allows them to have a lot of trust with your business. So the reviews, absolutely key. I use an example of WhitePoint. So they really try and facilitate your plans. They're trying to make things easy for you. And WhitePoint assists potential guests in the planning phase by offering seasonal packages. You can see here a few examples and vacation ideas on their website, encouraging early bookings through, like you can see here, personalized email campaigns. This one is from February, but if you read it, you can see their apps, they're pushing spring already. They're even in February, they're getting people thinking about planning their Easter vacations. And I actually read this morning that tourism businesses across the world are creating packages for customers, especially post-COVID. People don't want to book a stay here, an excursion there, all the way across. So packages, try and facilitate the planning element of your customers' experience with you. So the next stage is booking. This is when you're converting your clients through from being an audience to being a customer. Now, try not to make them work for it. Make it as simple as possible. Simplifying the user's booking process should be really high on your priority list. Many modern users would rather choose to put their credit card information online rather than speak with someone over the phone. Although there are some exceptions. There is a company, I believe they're in Cape Breton, and they refuse to take online bookings. You have to call them, and they're a very exclusive location, but it's a kind of a nuanced marketing strategy. I don't know if it helps them or whether it works against them. But they're social media divas, this couple, and so I think they do very well with it. So by KISS, keep it simple. Make your web design as simple and straightforward as possible. Clearly display your prices, use call to action buttons to advertise, encourage people to book. Make sure your site is responsive. We talked about this last week. You make sure that try and put a booking through on your mobile phone, on your tablet. Make sure that your website is as responsive on digital devices as well as your laptop. I believe, if I can remember rightly from the stat from last week's presentation, 68% of bookings were made through a mobile device, and it's becoming more popular. So really make sure your site is responsive. Most platforms ensure that it is. Most designs are designed with that in mind, but try and make sure that it is. Reservation software. So try and make sure that you don't have any issues with coherence across your reservation platforms. If you use an online travel agency, if you use your web, as well as your website, make sure they talk to each other. Try and really keep on top of that to avoid any confusion with, well, is it available? Is it available? Isn't it available? Make sure that your pricing is coherent. If there is differences in your pricing, then make sure that they are easily visible, why there is a price difference between the OTA and your site. Because, as I said, people visit up to 20 different websites before they make a booking, and they will choose the one that is or seems to give the best value. I'm not going to say cheap, the one that gives the best value. Ensure that there are any discounts, coupon codes, add-ons into these online systems. Then ensure that there's a confirmation email that goes out to every single client. There's nothing worse than, you get a phone call saying, well, I booked and I never received the confirmation. Could be in this spam, but try and make sure that your systems do that automatically. Online travel agencies, we've spoken about this. Make sure your listing is up to date. Make sure everything is nice and clean and clear and coherent with your website, and be responsive. It's not just your website that has to be responsive and available on your mobile device or on your tablet. Make sure that you respond to all emails, messages. If you've got chatbots online, just try and make sure that you're on top of that. And if you can't respond immediately, try and make sure that you have an autoresponder that lets people know that their email has been received or their message has been received. So let's have a look at an example. We've got Bay Ferries. They really do a good job of streamlining the booking process. They run targeted social media and Google ads during peak planning seasons, and they offer incentives for early reservations. This is a key element that they do very well. The website has got just the right amount of call to action buttons in the visible area of the page immediately. They're pushing in this slide. You can see they're pushing an offer right in the hero area, but they've got their book online on top. And then if you scroll down, then you get the packages deal. So they're really facilitating the planning and the booking element of their website. And they also, you go even further, and they've got very clear information about early booking discounts. And the booking window here is March 27th to April 30th for travel between June 19th and September 22nd, with a promo code SPRING25. So, yep, really nice and clean information there on Bay Ferries. So you've managed to convert them, you've received the booking, and they finally arrived. Now, this is the time to ensure their experience is second to none. You've got to focus on delivering exceptional customer experience by offering a little bit extra, coupons and discounts, for example. Consider items such as free add-ons like vouchers and discounts, um, other service items. Create links and discounts for other local hospitality providers. So once you arrive, you know what to do. Ensure that you've got enough information available to them at the location. If it's a bed and breakfast, for example, think about when you last went to a bed and breakfast. First thing you do when you get there is to say, okay, so what's the best thing to do around here? Where do I go to eat? And 85% of leisure travelers, they decide what they want to do on arriving. So it's important to have as much information there for them as possible. And 67% of travelers said they felt more loyal when more information is provided during their visit. It gives them a nice sense of engagement, a nice sense of trust with their service provider. And now is kind of the time while they're experiencing to begin to suggest. I won't say you're going to push it too hard, but create some content. It's not potentially not the best time to push your customers, but subtly encourage them to share their experience while they're with you. Leave reviews, use your hashtag, use your social media tags. It's always important, and recency is very key. So getting them to share a little bit while they're still with you is excellent. As an example, I have a client who runs a bed and breakfast in Lunenburg, and what they do is they have an agreement with a restaurant over the road for a discount for those individuals staying with them. So immediately, the customers have an opportunity to make the most of your contacts within the local community, and they can go and have a discounted meal over the road from the bed and breakfast. And on to the sharing phase. This is the advocacy phase. Now their experience is over, it's the time to share their thoughts and encourage them. And you need to encourage them to do this by sharing. So tell them where to share. Let guests know where they can share their experiences. Tourism companies should have Facebook, Twitter, or X, TripAdvisor, other icons present at the front desk to alert guests that they can engage with your property and share their opinions through those channels. Make it even easier for guests by providing a URL or a QR code that can take you directly to your review site. And one client of mine has a great idea. Right next to the card, which gives them their Wi-Fi password in their room, is a QR code to leave a review. Absolutely perfect. Great way to do it. They're already, they're going to go online. They're looking for their Wi-Fi password. QR code's right there. All you have to do is ask. Why don't you, when people check in or when they're checking out, you just say, hey, could you leave us a review? And I'll use some examples in a moment. And be sure to collect contact information from your clients. We're going to go on to mailing in a little bit, but as I mentioned in the last session, it is the best way of targeting certain demographics, certain buyer personas directly. You control everything when it comes to emailing. You control how often. You're not at the whim and mercy of Facebook or social media. You control everything. So having a good email database is absolutely key to converting clients to repeat customers. And you should reward user-generated content. So create incentives for people to share. As I mentioned before, we did a competition with a client, and it was share your favorite photo from your stay with us last year. And bam, they get a lot of information. Always ask for permission to be able to post them, but generate some user-generated content, engage your clients through photos, stories, experiences. Some people will even be happy to write a blog post for you on their visit. So yes, try to engage with your clients and reward their user-generated content. An example of a good sharing, I would say a good sharing strategy is Lunenburg walking tours. Now they prompt guests to leave reviews via QR codes, linking directly to TripAdvisor, and they share guest photos with consent on their social media channels, and it works. Look at this. Lunenburg walking tours, 520 reviews, 4.9% TripAdvisor ranking. Absolutely fantastic. And so you can see they've really began using reviews as a tool to market their business. This, strictly speaking, isn't a Nova Scotia business, but when I went on holiday to Costa Rica, I thought I'd share this very simple email I received from a company I used for car rental. And he says, "Hi, Liam. I want to see how your trip went and if you enjoyed the rental vehicle. If you have a moment, please post a review of our services on our Google page, link, and on Facebook." And there's a link. "And when you're ready to plan your next vacation, I'll be happy to assist." This was actually really nice. A 4-line email, very simple, not too pushy, really nice. Hey, please leave a review for us. And it's incredibly valuable. So now we understand our customers' buying journey. So we've got dreaming, planning, booking, experiencing, and advocacy sharing. How do we create our own digital marketing calendar in line with this? There are 5 steps to creating your digital marketing calendar, and you need to identify 5 different calendar types. One is your buyer persona calendar, and we'll review that. A seasonal calendar, a holiday or events calendar, an emailing calendar, and a pay-per-click calendar if you're planning on doing any paid marketing. And then you combine them all. It seems like a big job, but let's break it down. The first calendar to create is based around your buyer persona. So now you have your customer buying journey mapped out, and it's the time to evaluate when the different stages of the sequence will occur for your clients. And this brings us back to a buyer persona again and again, and it brings us back to their mindset. And you should create a calendar around each one of your buyer personas. I said initially you should create 3 key buyer personas, and then try and think about their booking journey. Stage 1 is to outline their journey. I'd suggest working backwards from their experience month. So here on the screen, we've got a bio persona that we created in the first presentation, Eco-Friendly Eric, one of our, like I said, one of our bio personas from session 1. This person, we know they love fall colors. So we can expect them to be experiencing Nova Scotia in September and October, which means he'll be booking typically between June and August, and researching and dreaming between January and April. Eventually, he'll be sharing his experiences in November and maybe even December. Obviously, may even be doing it whilst he's experiencing in October. But this will vary by buyer persona, and is very much geared around winning new customers. So that's your buyer persona calendar. The second stage is to define your seasonal calendar and get your posts geared around the seasons. So you've got winter, spring, summer, and then to fall, and back to winter again. So trying to think of emotive posts to really get people feeling the season, especially if it's important to your business. And it's not just about the seasons. You then have to think about creating a calendar around holidays, events. So the next stage is to create this calendar around holidays and events that happen for each month and incorporate them into your digital marketing strategy. Don't forget local events that might elicit a response in your customers or encourage them to engage. So in Nova Scotia, for example, Dumping Day. that might be something worth posting about. If you're in a seaside town where I know that the South Shore has the lobster crawl, that may be something worth posting about and getting some engagement through your clients. The most important calendar my in my perspective is for past clients is your emailing calendar, your direct mailing calendar. Now, this doesn't have to be completely separate from other calendars. You can use elements of your social media posts from the seasons or from the specific events and holidays and incorporate them into your mailing calendars. Try and invite them to take part in surveys and contests. Your emailing calendar should be geared around generating some user-generated content, making your customers aware of unique offers for customers, pushing, as Bayferries did, pushing an early bird style promotion, and giving them something that makes them feel a little bit different from those customers that are just coming on board for the first time. So these are your returning customers. This is your open door. Try and make them feel really welcome. Now, when it comes to emailing calendars, a lot of people ask, well, what is the best emailing program? And it kind of depends on what platform you're using, what you're comfortable doing. If you have a very unique experience, maybe you'll do it manually. But there's always MailChimp. I know that Wix has now, and I believe Squarespace have an in-platform mailing mailing element to it. So that can help get your mailings out there, but it really is up to your preferences. Moving on to your last calendar, your pay-per-click. It's the final calendar I've included because not everyone um, not everyone plans to use pay-per-click for their online marketing. It is a bit costly and maybe not a part of your digital marketing calendar for the year. However, when you create this calendar, you should follow the same rules as for the buyer persona calendar, planning on investing the most when your clients are in the researching and the booking stages of the buyer cycle. So most people assume that this is going to be, okay, we're going to gear it around people who want to enjoy the summer season or maybe the fall season. But for a client of mine, for example, who has a buyer persona, retired Ralph and Rita, we'll call them, and a package focused on snowmobiling tours, we need to plan the pay-per-click campaign around a slightly different buyer's journey than than the standard one. So using retired Ralph and Rita, here they are on their snowmobiles, an example of creating your buyer persona calendar as well. So they're going to be experiencing January, February, March, which means they'll be looking to book November and December. They'll be researching September, October, and dreaming in June and July when everyone else is experiencing their summer vacation. And they'll be sharing their experiences April, May, possibly during their experience. And identifying these elements is key to a successful campaign to gear your advertising, your pay-per-click, and indeed, as I mentioned, your buyer persona calendar around these booking stages. So now you've got your 5 calendars. How do you go about consolidating them all into one coherent calendar that you can use to post? Now, this can seem like a daunting task. That it seems it's a lot of work. So, but you've already done all the hard work. You've reviewed your website, made sure that you have a coherent digital presence. You've evaluated the online digital marketing pyramid. So you have great content ready. You've got a plan for your mailings. So this is just a case of plugging those different elements in and when they should happen. And as the joke goes, how do you eat an elephant? It's very simple. One bite at a time. Take each month and identify it and just go into it a little bit at a time. And I'm going to show you an example to give you an idea. I'm going to start with January. So let's take let's understand what stage your buyer personas are in at the buying journey. So we're going to take eco-friendly Eric, adventurous Alex, and cultural Claire as examples. These are buyer personas from our first session. And we're looking at January. So in January, they're pretty most going to be in the dreaming phase of the buying journey. So let's brainstorm some ideas around that element. So think back to Cabot Links. In January, we're looking to post beautiful, emotive images, something to take them away from the dreariness of winter, the cold, assuming they're from North America, and trying to get them to dream about your location and looking forward to making their booking for this year. We're reminiscing about the previous year's experience. This is a great example of some user-generated content. And look at, I mean, okay, it's a bit gray, but they're having a fantastic time. And you're trying to get those individuals to reminisce about past year's experience. And then reviews. Make sure your reviews are up to date. You can use reviews as part of your digital marketing calendar. So you don't have to put a name on, but post, hey, this is a review from last year. Yeah, we've got a couple here in German because this client has a strong German clientele. But make sure you use reviews in the dreaming phase because it allows people to reminisce. It reinforces that your business is trustworthy, and it gets people dreaming about. Let's say they mention your breakfasts. Let's say they mention a great experience doing a tour. It really gets people thinking about, oh, this is what we can do this coming year. Now, you'll remember from last session, there is a 5-3-2 rule for social media posts. So here is an example of a January post ideas. So we're going to get 5 curated posts, 3 created posts, and 2 personal posts. So curated, just a quick review for those of us who weren't here. Curated post is something that is generated from items you found online, polls, information, and you're curating it, you're pulling it together, and you're posting it, referencing sources, obviously, because it's interesting to your potential clients. 3 created posts, so those are posts that you're creating for your clients, and then 2 personal posts. So 2 fun posts that are to give you a little bit of behind the scenes. So here are 10 ideas for posts for Nova Scotia tourism businesses for clients in January in their dreaming phase. And remember, something that creates the opportunity to engage with your viewer is important. Try to have a specific call to action for each post. And you don't have to do this on your own. There are digital specialists who can help you create these. So again, Digiport is a fantastic source of information and help for your businesses. So a curated post is something like share a breathtaking winter lighthouse photo from a local photographer. So you get a local photographer's image, you ask for their permission to share it, and caption, could you imagine waking up to this view? Hashtag Nova Scotia Dreaming. That's an example of a curated. A created one would be your summer photo of Lunenburg Harbor with the caption, Lunenburg in July is something else. Who's planning ahead? Give them a bit of an incentive to think about starting to plan. And then we've got a personal. So local behind the scenes theme, snap a cozy photo of your workspace, a fireplace, coffee, a view, with a caption of planning next season from this little corner of the world. So just a little bit of background information makes your business seem human. It allows people to engage with you on an emotive level. So now we're looking at the holidays and events calendar. So if we're thinking about January, what do people do in January? Lots of people do dry January. Make a post about that. Promoting winter events. For example, I've got downtown Dartmouth's Ice Festival here. New Year's resolutions. You can make a play on that. That's great fun. New Year's Day is obviously one that you can post on New Year's Day. And then for an example here, I just searched out a holiday or an event, Robbie Burns Day. Again, it's a Scottish poet, Nova Scotia. Might be worth pushing that if you have some local events geared around that. Moving on to your emailing calendar. At this point, you can start thinking about your mailings. You can draw on social media posts to create your mailings and be careful to not overload your customers. I think I saw Terry here. Hi, Terry, from Seaweed and Sod, if I remember rightly. Do folks like getting emails, she asks. I find them annoying. Yes and no. As long as you've targeted your customers appropriately. Spoke in the last session about even getting your customer list, segmenting it so that you can email specific customers, specific emails that are of interest to them. No one likes receiving broad target emails that have nothing to do with your interests, nothing to do with what you're looking to do. Really try and focus them in. This one here, from White Point, March Madness at the Beach. I got 3 kids, they're all young. Maybe they knew this and maybe they focused this for me, feeding the bunnies. I have one kid who goes to White Point purely to go and look for bunnies. So focus on the recipient buyer persona and keep to a couple of emails per month with very specific calls to action. Okay, so now we're moving on to 5 calendar events or 5 calendars we've created just there. And we're going to combine them to create a digital marketing calendar for January. So the pay-per-click calendar around the buyer journey. So January the 1st, this is in their dreaming phase. We're going to use Google Ads, launch a pay-per-click campaign targeting dreaming stage with inspirational ad copy, for example. And then the marketing elements for your buyer persona calendar in their dreaming phase, using the 5-3-2 rule: 5 curated posts, 3 created posts, and 2 personal posts. So here we've got 1 going out on January 2nd, curated, January 6th curated, January 10th curated. Oh, sorry, I've included the dreaming here. It was tricky to create this. There's no way that PowerPoint allows you to do it automatically. 3 created posts, 2 personal posts, 2 posts around holidays, events, and actions. The Robbie Burns night, I included that there, January 24th. And then an Instagram reel there of the seasons. Start with Dreaming Now. And then 2 emails, 2 scheduled emails encouraging calls to action. So encourage your clients to start planning 2025 trips, and a call to action, for example, the one on January 6th, download our free itinerary. It really gives them something to engage with in your marketing strategy. So you don't have to do this on your own. I've mentioned there are Digiport experts that are available, and as long as you can also use, as I put here, Chat GPT. And I have to admit, I used it as part of this presentation. AI can help, but it is not the be-all and end-all. Be very, very careful about that. I mentioned it last session, and I'm mentioning it again now. You do still have to do work using the worksheets I provided over the previous 2 sessions. Before you even start using ChatGPT, or before you even engage with a Digiport expert, you have to have your buyer persona defined, or your buyer personas. You have to know which platforms they use to be able to promote them accordingly. And you have to have your buyer journey defined, so you know when you're going to be marketing what to who. So since the focus of this workshop is to create frameworks, not to teach AI, I'm only going to touch on it briefly, but suffice to say, it's incredibly powerful and very useful to create ideas. Again, I warn you, it's not perfect, and whatever it creates will have to be refined and checked and changed and updated. So here's an example of a prompt that you could use to generate ideas for your social media posts. And this is a prompt that I used for Baby Pines, just as an example. And I know, Joe, that we're going to be talking later in one of our one-to-ones, so I look forward to chatting to you about that. But the prompt here is: act as a digital marketing manager for the business, in this case, babypines.com. Create a January calendar of social media posts following the 5-3-2 rule to appeal to the buyer persona, cultural Claire, let's say. And you list cultural Claire's attributes at the, in this case, dreaming phase of the customer buying journey, focusing on Facebook and Instagram, which we know that buyer persona uses. And this is what it came up with. Now you have to fine tune or extrapolate on these ideas, and you've obviously got to create your the elements that it suggests. But for example, we've got January, Winter Charm of Lunenburg, a photo carousel of heritage buildings with historic facts. Um, let's see, meet the hosts, the personal one. Casual photo or reel introducing the hosts with favorite local spots. Joe and Chris, I know they like to go kayaking, so they should post some fun stuff of them kayaking with Harriet, their dog. That's a beautiful personal post that'll really get people engaged with your buyer personas. We've got a created one here, Bayview Pines through guest eyes. Share a guest testimonial or quote and a nice scenic photo. So you can see that it's come up with some great ideas. There is still stuff that you need to do to flesh this out, and you've got to get the photos, find the review, etc. But it gives you some great ideas as a start. So you've created your calendar for January, or at least you have the outline, either on your own or with AI or a Digiport expert, and you now need to implement it. What is the best way of doing it? So you could make each post, send each email manually at a given date and time, or you could use a software platform to help you. Now, there are quite a lot out there, depending on the size of the business, the market, you see, and what you're prepared to spend. But three of the ones that I use most frequently or have used in the past are Hootsuite, Sprout, and Buffer. Now, Buffer is fairly new. Hootsuite has been around forever, and Sprout is well established. But I personally like Buffer. It's cheap, it's simple, it's straightforward, and it allows you to create your posts in a simple step-by-step fashion. So you've got unassigned, you can see here, to do. So you can put some just ideas in there, just very general ideas. Then you can start creating your posts, and then you can click on done when you've posted them. And it even has an AI capability to fine tune or give you ideas about your posts. And it also is very easy to define the stages and individuals you're targeting for evaluation with tags. So here you can see I've got buyer journey tags, awareness, consideration, sign up. And then the content, I've got different tags for the 532, curated, created, and personal. And it's easy to define the stages and individuals that you are targeting. Now, many platforms are incorporating their own social media calendar system. So we've got one here of Wix, and Joe, this is when we were chatting last week. As you can see here, it's got its own AI self-generating post bot, which I have to say, I was blown away by really how good it is. It gives you ideas. You can tailor it. You can do your own. It'll give you, I think, 10 free posts a month before you have to buy the social media planner package. But it's an example of how AI looks at your website, takes what's there, and creates blog posts for you. It's got Instagram and Facebook here. This is exactly what we knew they were looking for. So some of them are a bit cheesy. Some of them you can tell they were made by a bot, by AI. So try and make it not quite so. If you do use Chat GPT or AI, try not to make it sound too robotic. Really get in there yourself and change some of the text up, make it flow better. Don't trust AI with everything. As we mentioned at the beginning, understanding the impact of your marketing efforts, it's vital to growing your business, understanding what works. I mean, we mentioned this in the previous session where we used Joe's post about her marmalade and got some great impact, great engagement there from a fairly surprising post, but it really resonated with her buyer persona and her customer demographics. So ensure your pay-per-click campaigns are linked to analytics. Make sure you review your website's clicks and comments on social media. Make sure you have everything integrated from Google Search Console, Google Analytics, any other analytics program that you use, for example, Wix and Squarespace and WordPress platforms all have statistics packages that work with Google Analytics and Google Search Console. So you can understand exactly where your bookings are coming from, so that when you when you review your digital presence in the run up to next year's season, you can ensure that the marketing efforts you did this year are really focused on increasing those three objectives. And you know what worked and what didn't work. Increase those objectives of increasing your reach, increasing your engagement, and increasing your conversions. One of the most common questions or comments I get is that I want to increase conversions on my website, not the OTAs, not through other channels, through my own website. So all your digital marketing posts, you have to increase your reach, increase your engagement, increase your conversions. And remember from the first presentation, ensure it brings joy to your customers, ensure it's relevant to your customers and sparks their interest. Here we got Marie Kondo with her joyful presence. So now to work. Okay, we've covered and created a framework on how to clean up your digital presence online using Marie Kondo. We've reviewed how to create meaningful content where and when using the digital marketing pyramid. And now we've reviewed how to engage with your clients effectively using your customer's buying journey to create a digital marketing calendar specifically for your clients. So I hope that this three session workshop rather, has helped you create an idea of the steps to take, what needs to be done. And now you don't have to put everything, you don't feel like you have to do absolutely everything. Your focus is on managing your business and giving great customer service to your customers. So use Digiport, use AI if you have to, but don't waste time on doing something that isn't really your forte. Use Digiport, use Tourism Nova Scotia to help you make sure that you're making the best use of your time. And to that end, if you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, I understand that the booking link doesn't, or that there isn't a booking link on the Digiport website at the moment, but you can drop me an email and let me know, and we can book it in, and it's covered by Tourism Nova Scotia. So, like I said, I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed the presentations. I hope you enjoyed the examples, and I will hand over to Nick again now to close the session.
Thank you so much, Liam. So much great information. If anybody has any questions or anything pops up after the fact, please share. So just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna take back over here. Oh, shoot. I don't want to do that. Bear with me. I'm going to I'm hoping this works. All right, thank you so much, Liam. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm hoping the sun is here to stay. Let's hope that today's the day. So thank you for joining us, Liam, and take care. So again, this three-part series has been so valuable. So please ensure that if you need to go back and review it, you'll find it on our website and on Digiport. Share it with any colleagues or friends that you think would benefit from it. If you have ideas for future webinars, please send us an email at tnsbusiness@novascotia.ca. If you have any questions or suggestions, send it to that email address as well. Our corporate website is tourismns.ca, and any of these webinars, any programs we talk about, they're all available at that website. We have our news and resources are there as well. Our consumer website is novascotia.com, and our corporate LinkedIn is Tourism Nova Scotia. Now I'm going to go back because I think I did skip over this slide. Our TDAP Communities program closes on April 30th at 4 o'clock. So if you have any interest in applying for that, you can find it at Tourism NS on our website, and it's also on Digital Nova Scotia's website. The Emerging Destinations Program application deadline will be Wednesday, May 7th at 4 p.m. So there's 2 deadlines coming up. You can find all the information you need at tourismns.ca. Again, here are our connections here so you can stay connected with us. Thank you for joining with us today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.